you imagine Donald Trump's plane being overthrown by terrorists mid-flight? Can you imagine him die-harding his way around the plane, ducking and diving, taking care of the ruthless bastards, saving his sweet lover and daughter Ivanka? Well, I can't give you that, but I can recommend the 1997 classic Air Force One. This movie is incredible. I'd always heard of it, I'd seen badass clips of Harrison Ford slamming terrorists around a plane, and of course the classic line,
"Get off my plane."
So after finally watching the movie, I had the idea to look at two of the most incredible plane hijack movies of all time, both coincidentally coming out before 9/11 in 1997. Let's just say you wouldn't get these films after 2001, especially depicting US security being this lousy. Anyway, I'm looking at Air Force One this week, and next week I'm going to be looking at the Nicolas Cage film Con Air. Remember to like, comment and subscribe, or as usual, I'll kill the family dog. Don't make me do it. Air Force One is about the family man US President James Marshall, played by the awesome Harrison Ford, who has to take matters into his own hands after his presidential plane Air Force One is hijacked and his family and staff are being held hostage by a Kazakhstan terrorist group led by Ivan Krasin, played by Gary Oldman. I definitely butchered that name there, but you know what? Just like every other video, go check him out. I butcher every name. He manages to hold every fucking scene by the balls. You may say the accent is a little controversial nowadays, but do you know what? I say fuck you, fuck your mother, watch the movie. We get to see different perspectives of this major fuck up. You have Glenn Close doing a fantastic job as a no-nonsense vice president trying to secure and save the plane while negotiating with the terrorists. You've got survivors of the massacre. Honestly, it's brutal that the terrorists start with hijacking with. We have William H. Macy as General Cadwell, who's trying to solve the plan as one of those survivors, and he later helps the president by saving people's lives. But of course, it turns out this president isn't a run-of-the-mill president. He's a Vietnam veteran fighter pilot and a recipient of the Medal of Honor. So using the escape pod on the plane as a distraction to stage his retreat, he uses the same tactic as John McClane from Die Hard and manages to get the upper hand through surprise, grit, and one of the most badass taking out one cunt at a time fucking movies, all with family on his mind. Honestly though, this film is an incredible fucking ride, man. Like, you've got to go fucking see that. Like, you got to go see this movie like it's in the fucking cinema. It went out nearly fucking 30 years ago. Anyway, you got to see this. I can't even emphasize how fucking good this movie is. One thing I did notice, his wife keeps putting herself in some shit situations, and I understand that, like, look, you think your husband abandoned ship. You're on a fucking plane that you don't know where it's going, how much fuel there is. You're probably gonna get raped. Your top priority, you and your fucking 12-year-old daughter, right? Okay, you're probably worried, but like, she keeps putting herself in some really bad situations. But going back to Gary Oldman's performance, because holy shit, this guy's a psychopath. It's just jaw-dropping to see how nasty this man begins to get as each of his plans are foiled trying to eliminate Harrison Ford. He gets more and more desperate to achieve his goal. Basically, the movie starts with a US strike force on a Black Ops mission entering the leader of Kazakhstan's house and killing him, and a lot of his men in the fucking doing so. And apparently this is to help better relations with Russia because the Cold War's over, and Harrison Ford does this epic speech at the beginning. And to be honest, there's a lot of similarities between Ukraine and Gaza and how people are helping out in countries. And sorry to get political, I ain't one of those people, but you know what I mean. Anyway, Gary doesn't like this. Of course he doesn't. Gary doesn't like a lot. And him and his bros form a fucking sick plan disguising themselves as Russian news crew and having an inside man on the Secret Service, and they quickly manage to take the plane. There's smoke bombs and stuff. But I mean, they murder so many people. Yeah, it's pretty cool. So Air Force One came out on July 25th, 1997 in the United States and September 12th, 1997 in the UK. God, movies were weird back then. Releases were what? That was like 2 months apart. Can you imagine? People know what happened to Harrison Ford on the Air Force One before. And then there's the spoilers. You'd have to hide yourself from it. And I know it happens a lot today in like Australia. They get it like a bit later, but like, I know, you know, obviously other parts of the world, but it's crazy with all the, like the internet now. Anyway, with a budget of 85 million, it made 315.2 million worldwide, becoming the 5th highest grossing movie of 1997. And do you know what? I can see why. It's a dope fucking movie. It perfectly uses every member of the cast in the most entertaining way, and with a plot that is a mission straight out of Call of Duty. I know this probably inspired the Mile High Club from COD 4, but you know what I'm saying. It's a sick fucking thing, man. It's sick. Anyway, the casting in this movie is incredible. I mean, what film has a Russian Gary Oldman, a US President Harrison Ford? Oh, I mean, okay, well, there's Captain America 2 that has as US President Harrison Ford. A General William H. Macy. Oh my god, imagine if that Captain America was a sequel to this movie. Oh, that'd be pretty cool. Anyway, Jen Close as a vice president. The list goes on, but you've got to watch this movie to fully appreciate this masterpiece. Originally, Waterworld star Kevin Costner was originally offered the role. I've just said originally twice there, but he had to refuse for having other commitments. I could have seen that working, to be honest. I don't mind him, to be fair. Like Prince of Thieves, Robin Hood, that's pretty good. Waterworld isn't that bad. I mean, it's okay. And apparently Yellowstone, I haven't seen it, but apparently he's very good at that. Gary Oldman was offered the role after he turned down the villain role in Speed 2, Cruise Control. Safe to say, I think he made the right choice. He also used his payment to fund his directorial debut Nil by Mouth, inspired by his working class upbringing in southeast London. I've never seen it, but apparently it's got quite good reviews and people like it a lot. While in production, a large part of the crew took a tour of the real Air Force One to get a better idea of the layout and how they could plan action sequences. Also gaining inspiration for news crews in the film going undercover on a tour and infiltrating the plane. In this film, Air Force One is shown to have an escape pod, and a few other films show this as well, like Escape from New York, but in actual fact, it does not have one equipped. But I don't believe that, because he's a General Grievous motherfucker. Apparently, musician Randy Newman, known for his shit? Why did I write shit? Known for his own stuff and his work on Pixar films like Monsters Inc. and Toy Story. He was originally hired to write the film's score, but he was replaced with Jerry Goldsmith as his music was almost seen as a parody and they wanted something more patriotic and serious, only giving Goldsmith 12 days to complete the score, which, to be fair, isn't memorable, but it's not horrible and accents the dramatic scenes and violent fights pretty well. This film is a perfect movie night movie. It's got action, it's got comedy, great performances, effects, and it's all about family. Harrison is truly in his peak in this role. I love him. He's just an everyman underneath being a US president. He just wants to watch his football game, drinking some beers, kissing his wife, but presidential role keeps getting in the way. I was surprised how much I loved this movie. Bear in mind, I was about 6 or 7 beers deep when I watched it, so I was pretty invested, but I loved it regardless. I do have to say, I think the third act is a little weak, as he defeats Gary Oldman and then has to land the plane in like enemy airspace, and he's getting shot at by jets, but he just drags on. And in my notes here, they introduce a new villain, and you know, I was like, how was there 30 minutes? It could have been a breezy 90-minute movie, but no, they had to go one step further. I don't know, there's a badass like prisoner, like Russian prisoner release thing, but all my rage and shit went off when Gary Oldman got thrown from the plane and we had that badass line. And now I have to, you know, sit here and watch him fight some Secret Service infiltrator. Like, oh, I'm glad they finally caught the guy, but I don't really care about that. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video. Remember to suck your mum's tits and like and subscribe. Comment what film you think I should cover next. But yeah, cheers, goodbye, and thank you very much. Goodbye.